AITA for making a scene at my sister's wedding, which she spent more than 10K on, over a joke? My sister, 24F, got married last week. Her wedding was very well planned out. We received invitations 6 months before and my sister poured about $10,000 into this wedding, and that's without catering costs added. She also invited over 100 people. It was an ethnic wedding, so there were some friends of friends. The ceremony was beautiful. There were so many pictures taken. Everyone was having a great time. I dream of eating the food I ate there just once again in my life. Even the rehearsal dinner a week before was magical. The issue came after my sister and her husband said, "I do." It was the reception. The cake was cut, and everything was great. They were laughing and having a good time, and then they went back up and said their speeches. Her husband's speech was touching with a humorous twist. When it came time for her to say hers, however, things went south. She started off great, making a few jokes about a few family members. Nothing harmful. But then it got to me. She made a joke about considering having a dry wedding because I was such an addict. To clarify, I have struggled with an alcohol addiction, and she is well aware. She was never really supportive of my recovery journey because she always saw me as an addict. My sister has this idea that once you struggle with an addiction, you go crazy and lose control if you get the chance again. No matter if you recover or not, in her eyes, you're always an addict. Everyone laughed and I felt humiliated. She was laughing too and then continued. I didn't want to interrupt her, so I just waited. I felt like crying and screaming at the same time. It was a rage yet sadness I'd never experienced before. After her speech, I spoke up. I brought her somewhere private. I told her that I didn't appreciate her joke and it wasn't funny, and that I felt she humiliated me. She got so angry and started yelling things like, "I have a whole wedding waiting for me back there. Who do you think you are to bring me here and waste my time? And, it's just a joke, don't be so pissy." She accused me of ruining her wedding and started screaming. She left back to the ceremony and I just stood there. Once I came back, everyone was staring at me and my sister was sobbing in my dad's arms. My dad proceeded to yell at me, telling me I ruined my sister's wedding and made a scene. I yelled back, and when I noticed a lot of people were watching, I got angry and left. Now all my family's mad at me and they won't stop sending me texts telling me I should apologize. I don't want to. AITA? Edit. Based on the comments, I would like to clarify a few things. I think I may be the SSHOLE because once I left and saw my dad, he started yelling at me and I yelled back. If I just left, I wouldn't have caused a scene. I also would like to say this is not the first time my sister has made a distasteful comment about my addiction struggles, and my parents excuse her every time. They tell me they don't agree with her, but I should put up with her and understand her. Lastly, the wedding and reception was still going on. I pulled her away immediately after, so people were looking at us. I think her reaction was because she was anxious since people were looking and she didn't want to leave such a special moment. AITA for telling my sister that our parents don't have to agree with her relationship. My 21F sister isn't accepted by my 29M parents for being gay. Throwaway account, so my family can't link this back to me. For some context, my little sister is a lesbian. Our family does not support her decisions, but it don't give a FCK who she sleeps with. When she came out, she was distanced from the family, but we started talking again after finding out our father is dying. After things in the family being rocky for a long time, we decided to all get together at my parents' house. My dad said he wanted to put all of the drama and bickering aside, and if we have a problem with each other we can wait until he passes. Everyone agrees, including my sister, so I was expecting to have a nice family barbecue. My family wanted to meet my sister's girlfriend and insisted that she brought her over. We were all excited to meet her. My sister's girlfriend seemed like a nice girl, but she was very standoffish. She kept to herself and didn't speak much to my parents and me. For the most part she was glued to my sister. This caused some awkward silence. I started asking about the relationship. How did they meet? How long have they been together? And I even joked around about if she hurt my sister, blah blah blah. My parents started acting stranger by each question. I asked my mom what was wrong, and her response was, "This isn't right." I could tell my sister and her girlfriend were uncomfortable, and my dad tried to calm my mom down. My sister, probably fed up with being treated like SHT for the last few years, spoke up and asked my parents what was the point of inviting them if she wasn't going to be okay with seeing them together. This caused my mother to explode with anger because she felt like my sister was being disrespectful. My mother goes on to say a lot of other things, That's I'm not going to say because I will be banned. Cold sweat smile. My sister started to cry and hyperventilate. Her girlfriend starts to comfort her and tries to get her to calm down, and this causes my mom to tell her that if you're going to be dramatic and act like a child, you need to leave. You're upsetting your father. Before my sister could respond, her girlfriend is grabbing their things and taking my sister to the car. I tried to rationalize this whole situation with my parents. They were no use. They thought she was putting on a show in front of her girlfriend to make them look bad. They proceeded to say that they're allowed to be uncomfortable and feel differently than her. I explained to them that this is who she loves. No one has to agree with it, but we should still love her. I've tried talking to my sister about the whole situation, and apparently I defend our parents too much. I told her that our parents don't have to agree with her relationship, but they should. She told me that I'm being asshole for expecting her to pretend it's best someone else just because our dad is dying. AITA? AITA for continuing to weight train even though my parents forbid it? Y'all, this is the stupidest situation I've ever been in, and I need the internet to weigh in because I have no idea who is the at this point. I, 16F, have always been really big for my age. They tested me to make sure I didn't have a medical issue because it was so freaky, but turns out nothing is wrong. I'm just really tall and built. I've been teased about it my whole life, but I like it now. My parents do not. They worry about me not fitting in, and they get really upset when people confuse me for a boy, which happened a lot before oops. So, my mom has always had me wear really obviously girly clothes. I have to keep long hair, and they've always pushed me towards really girly things. I think they're afraid I might be trans, or at least people will treat me badly thinking that I am. It's not great, but it's always been more trouble to not go along with it. I started working out over the last year and I really like weightlifting. I must have good genetics for it, because I've made a lot of progress. The problem is that my muscles are bulking enough to be noticeable now, and my parents think it's going to get me bullied for being too masculine, so they said I have to stop. My mom suggested jogging or yoga instead. I'm going to yoga, but I miss my weight workouts. So, I asked the coach that teaches my health class if I could come in early and use the school's weight room. I've been doing that for a month, but my parents found out about it this week from one of my teachers. They said I disobeyed them and went behind their back and I'm grounded. I said it was really stupid that I can't work out the way that I like and they can't stop me. My mom said he'll thank them when I want to start dating. I'm doing push-ups out of spite, and my dad says that it's good that I want to exercise, but I'm being disrespectful. AITA for telling my girlfriend she should not drive in high heels. My 28M girlfriend, let's call her Emma, 26F, likes wearing high heels ever since I have known her. She is self-conscious about her height, but it's not really a big deal when we are together as I am short. She is 5'2" and I am 5'6". The issue, however, is when we go out together she normally drives as it is her car and she drives in her heels. I repeatedly tell her she should switch to flats and not drive in them as it is dangerous, but she refuses and says she knows how to drive in them and is used to it, and claims in some cases it's easier as you can pivot between pedals easier. I think she is not being honest, as I can't possibly see how it would be easier. Last week she got into a small accident and rear-ended someone. I was not there, but a car changed lanes in front of her and she rear-ended it. I bought her some sneakers and told her to use Thima's driving shoes and left them in her car, and she called me and said her accident had nothing to do with her shoes and that I should drop it. AITA here? I just want her to be safe. AITA for telling my Bill he doesn't deserve a healthy son. I, 31F, am married to John, 34M. We are high school sweethearts and have been married for 6 years. This event is about his brother, Tom, 32M, who was in my graduating class, so I have known him longer than anyone else in the family. A little background on Tom: he was the class bully and is still a bit of a bully today. He used to make fun of kids in school who were different, or maybe had problems with learning, and he not much has changed. Think typical man's man, toxic behavior. We grew up in a pretty small town, and Tom married Erica, 31F, who was also in our class in school and was kind of mean to people as well. For the record, I was never the target of their abuse. Ultimately, when the three of us graduated, my Bill got into the family business. Sil attended a trade school and I left to join John in a large city for college. We have remained in that city ever since. We returned to our hometown to visit our families and did so for a long weekend recently. Tom and Erica have 2 children, Allie, 7F, and Matthew, 5M. We have 1 child, Sam, 4M. While I still find my Bill difficult to put up with, Erica has grown a lot and is a different person from who she was in high school. The cousins do not see each other often, so when we can get them together we try to do so, and I really like Erica now. A few years ago, it became pretty clear that Matthew was not hitting his benchmarks. I expressed my concern to Erica and suggested she seek some professional help so he can receive early intervention. She agreed, and my concern really just confirmed hers while my Bill kept making excuses. After many months he was diagnosed with autism. He has been in therapies for the past few years but is still nonverbal and still in diapers. This has become very distressing to my Bill, and he is lashing out at doctors, therapists, and Erica. My take is he knows how mean he was to kids like his son, and now he is the parent of a disabled child. Erica and I were talking and she asked if John would talk to Tom about how unproductive his behavior is and see if he would listen to his big brother. I asked John to speak to him and he agreed. The next day, they were outside and John brought it up. Tom immediately stormed off and came inside. Erica asked what was wrong and Tom went off on her. I tried to calm him down and he started in on me and how I would never understand because my child is healthy. Then he said he was the one that deserves the healthy child since I'm so okay with his son hitting in diapers at 5 years old. I said, "You don't deserve a healthy child. No onis owed a healthy child." Well, this must have been the absolute worst thing to say because he kicked my family out, and now I can't help but wonder if this comment really made me an ah. My in-laws think he is overreacting. My husband is Atham, and Erica has been secretly texting me and is really concerned about him. And #X200B, ETA. I made this comment so I'll put it here too. The actual conversation was that my child isn't typical, because I was owed or deserved a typical child, and his child is not autistic because he was out or deserved a disabled child.